So, this is one of our dear clients, Allison Hammond. She's been with us since last March, so almost a year. And she has been seeing just such incredible results. And we wanted to get her on a call to kind of pick her brain and share her experience about what she's been going through and the changes that she's been seeing. So, Allison, take it away, girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been almost a year now, and I am down 25 pounds. And I've definitely seen like a big change in just like not just like the pounds, but like I feel like so much more lean and like my legs look more lean and toned. And like I've had multiple, I'm a hairstylist, so I've had multiple of my clients, they're like up in the front waiting for me, and I come and grab them and they're like, wait, I didn't even know that that was you back there. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, that's kind of embarrassing, but also awesome at the same time.
Right.
So yeah, um, I've been really happy so far. Like, I'm so happy that I did this. I was so nervous just because of like the investment and just like, okay, if I spend this money and it doesn't work, like I'm gonna just be like embarrassed and like even more like disappointed in myself and just like be
Yeah.
so mad at myself. But I was like, no, you know what? Like I've never been happy with how I've looked in my entire life,
Mhm.
not once. And after having the kids, I like caught myself in the mirror. I'm like, I don't like myself at all right now. Like I just don't want to feel like this anymore. So I like got to my breaking point. I was like, no, I'm like doing this and I'm not quitting. I'm doing this. Like I don't care. So
Mhm.
I like finally got to that point, and I'm so happy I did because my results have been amazing so far. And just like I don't know, like I'm like this is like my life now. Like I love it. I love that I'm like have this like workout routine, and like my eating has like totally changed. Um and I like can't I don't I'm not going back. Like I'm not. Like this
It's
is
not
me
an
now. So
option. Yeah, I think you speak to a lot of other women when you say that like you had this breaking point of like,
yeah.
who am I? Like what is even happening right now? Like I don't recognize myself.
Yeah.
Um, so like when you think back on who you were then almost a year ago now, right? Like
Mhm.
what like there is the investment, right? There is the fact that like what if this doesn't work and stuff. But what was that like push of like, no, this is something I need to take a leap on. Like this is something that I need to do for myself because as a mom, I know it's hard to do things for yourself and take that investment and use it for you, especially when those funds could be going to your kids and stuff too, which is what a lot of women struggle with.
Right. Yeah, I was just like if like I need to be happy for everyone else in my family to be happy and have fun. Like cuz like I'm like I had the attitude like okay, it's summer and my kids want to go to the pool, but I feel like crap about myself, so like might try to get out of it. But I'm like, no, they don't deserve that. Like I want my kids to be like I want to feel comfortable taking them to the pool and have fun, and like if I'm happy, they're happy. Like I it's kind of like I don't know, and like if I'm like having like a bad attitude or sluggish or like that's affecting them. Like I am everything that I'm doing is affecting them in such a huge way. Like, so yeah, I was just like, no, I'm kind of, yes, I'm doing this for myself mainly, but I'm also doing it for the people around me too, because I'll be a happier person. Is
100%.
that, yeah.
That's great. And I mean, of course, like the kids are kind of like top of the list, right? But like you also like with your relationship with your husband and stuff. And I know his support throughout this process for you has been like really incredible. But can you
Hmm.
just kind of talk on that a little bit? Because there are some hesitations around like, is my husband going to be on board with me doing this and diving in? And like, what was the conversations that you had with him about joining?
Yeah. I mean, at first he was like, Allison, like, are you sure? Like, this is a lot. Like, And I kind of just unleashed on him and told him how I was feeling, and I don't think he realized that, like, because I keep everything inside. Like, I just said I was like, "I hate myself. Like, I need to do this." And he's like, "Do what you have to do." Um, and now that everything has, like, now, like, a year later, you can like, I feel like I'm almost, like, rubbing off on him a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, Serena knows about this, but, like, we just bought a brand new, like, workout, station for our basement. Like, we're making a home gym now, and prior to that, he would work out, like, here and there, but I feel like without him realizing, I've, like, rubbed off on him a little bit, and it's like he's, like, into it now, and, like, he's seen my results, and I think that alone, like, he's complimented me so many times, like, "Wow, you look really good," like, um, just I think a little bit of him didn't know what to, like, he was probably like, "Oh god, okay, we're gonna spend this and, like, nothing's gonna change." And now seeing that it has, he's like, "Okay, cool." Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's benefited him too because, I mean, I feel like I'm a happier person,
Yeah.
and I feel like he notices that. So,
Yeah, and
I
that's
don't.
cool. Also kind of giving you guys something to like do together, like putting
Yeah.
together the gym and like working out together. And like also
Yes.
I can only imagine like his thought process around like, dang, my wife just did that. Like that's awesome. Like her getting
Yeah.
this, like oh, okay, great. Thanks for sharing that because I think that's just
Yeah,
something that a lot of women battle in their head about of even like wanting to do it for themselves and putting themselves first when it comes to the investment and
yeah,
even time too. Like, let's talk a little bit about like obstacles that you were facing before kind of diving into this, like with your scheduling and the energy and that self-doubt that you were facing around like, will this work for me? Because there are a few obstacles at the beginning of this, right?
yeah, yeah, I was, like, just kinda like, "How am I gonna do this when I'm feeling so busy with 3
Mhm.
kids?" I work part-time, but, like, on days when I work, I come home and I'm exhausted because 'cause I'm standing all day. So yeah, I definitely was like, "Oh, how am I gonna do this?" But I just had that thought process, like, there is no option. You're doing this. Like, I want this so bad. There are so many other moms that have 4, 5, 6 kids and they look amazing and they're doing it. Like, they're making time. I'm like, I'm I don't have a choice. Like, I'm doing it. If I want to be happy and feel good, I will find a way. So, um it kind of worked out. It's easier when the so I have twin boys. They're 5 years old. They're in kindergarten. My little schedule right now, currently, when they're at school, they're out of the house. I wait until I put the baby down for a nap. She sleeps from anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours, and that's my workout time. Um, I don't care about what the house looks like. Like, I do nothing else. That is my time. Like, the house will be in shambles, but I
I
don't care.
I actually love that because it's like you've prioritized, right? And you're like, this is higher on the priority list than like that laundry that's over there.
1000%, because it will always be there.
Yep.
And I like I crave it. Like, after I get done with my workout, I feel so good. And it's just like, then I'm like, it's like I'm more energized then after to, like, okay, now let's clean this place up. Like, I have like 20 minutes. Cool. Like, let's power hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't know where I was going with that, but
That's great because I think that's also something that ends up being an excuse for a lot of women.
yeah,
Like then I want to go get on the treadmill, but then I see the laundry and I see the dishes, and it's like realigning. Well, one, like the mindset aspect of it that we work on a lot, right? It's like
yeah,
realigning those priorities. So how do you feel like this approach and like when it comes to the mindset, but also like the plan with nutrition and workouts that we kind of just lay out for you? How do you feel like that's helped you go from someone who dreaded doing workouts and hated looking in the mirror to now being like, I crave this and like it's at the top of my list, like under your marriage and your kids, right? Like it's like number
yeah.
three.
I
So
think it's just like, sorry. I think it's just like how it makes me feel. Like, I'm just like, And I love having like I pull up the app. I have Serena gives me all of the workouts. I don't have to think about anything. Like before I would go on like Instagram or Facebook, like I would save a video. I'm like, okay, I'll do this. But like having a plan and just knowing that it's there, I love that. Like I need that. Um, nutrition wise, yeah, before I was just like had literally no idea. Like just grabbing something like I think this is healthy. I don't know. Um it was hard at first with tracking. It was like it felt like a lot.
Mhm.
Um but now it's almost like I have so many stuff already saved in my fitness pal. So it's way quicker and I kind of already like I know what I can eat without tracking almost. Like I'm getting to that point where I'm like, okay, like I don't even have to think about this. I know that I can whip this up really quick. I'll track it later, but I know that this is going to fit into my day. Um
That's incredible, and that's like a long-term like end game thing, right? Because like
yeah,
then just like because we could say it till we're blue in the face. Tracking is a tool to get you to the point where you can do those sort of things and intuitively eat. Where like I just know this works for my body, and I just know this makes me feel good, and I'm hungry now, and I'm full, and I'm gonna stop. And like those kind of cues that pop up and learning it along the way, it's like
yeah.
that's what we're working towards. Like, of course, we want to see the progress, but those goals are going to help you maintain that progress long term.
Right. Yeah. And just like with think like in the beginning, like I would message Serena like, what can I eat that like just like her having her guidance was so helpful. Like before you're just kind of like I'm like by myself, like, well, guess I'll try this. I don't know. It was just like comforting knowing that I could ask you, like,
Yeah.
what do you think about this? And just like I felt so lost, but um
And Serena, you can maybe touch on this a little bit, but like there's such a difference of like Googling, okay, I'm postpartum and I'm breastfeeding, and does this work for me? Is it going to affect my breast milk? Versus asking someone specifically who knows your situation, like, hey, give me some advice on this.
yeah, that's another thing. The breastfeeding, I still currently am, and my supply has never gone down. So I was nervous about that in the beginning too. Like I didn't want that to, because that's all she wants to freaking do. Um, but that hasn't went down, so that's been nice. Like I never even had like the slightest inkling that it was. So we never had to like adjust anything. So that was
That's
really
incredible.
good.
So let's
Yeah.
kind of talk about that for a little bit because like you've seen major progress and then like no
Mhm.
in breastfeeding at all
Mhm.
whatsoever. Which is a huge fear of postpartum moms starting because like you have these goals that you want to breastfeed for 6 months, a year, whatever it is that you and like for us, for Serena and I, like you like if you I want to keep you breastfeeding as long as you have that goal for yourself and your little one, right? And so um we're pay very close attention to that. But did you have fears around that, like first starting that like your milk supply was gonna dip because it's like what you've seen on social media and things like that?
I did, yeah, because that's all I'm seeing is like like all these supplements to help boost it, and people talking about how their supply dipped when they started calorie counting, whatever. So I was nervous about that. Um, Especially because my baby, she would not take a bottle. She still doesn't. And I'm like, I am her only food source. Like, I can't have that happen. So I was nervous, but I think we talked about that in the beginning. And Serena was like, we can adjust. Like, if you're seeing anything, like, we'll up your food, like, we'll make it so that that doesn't happen. So I was like, okay, I trust you. And nothing ever happened. So even when I was in the deficit, um,
Very
Yeah,
cool.
and I wanted to you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember if you had ever tried any of like the lactation cookies or supplements or bars before we started working together. 'Cause I know a lot of moms before coming in, they will start on those because like the marketing for everything says like, hey, this is gonna help you. And then later on when we switched to like real food, it actually helps them a little bit more. So I wanted to know if you had experience with that as well.
I did with my boys. 5 years ago. I never did with my baby now because when I used it with the boys, I didn't see any difference. I bought like the cookies all the time, tried some teas, maybe like got an extra half ounce when I'm doing like a full 30-minute pump, but not enough to say like, oh yeah, I need to like keep buying this. I kind of felt like it was a scam, honestly.
Really good at
So,
marketing, right?
Yeah. Um, okay, so I kind of want to bounce back to tracking for a second though.
mhm.
With you saying how at the beginning you were like, okay, this is a lot of work. Like, what am I gonna do? I want, and of course, like, we work together about like certain foods you can eat and stuff like that. But I want to know how you kind of overcame that mindset of this is a lot, this is too much, I don't have time to track, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so it got a little bit easier day by day because I'm just getting more like comfortable with the app and um so but then it goes back to my mindset of just being like, this is what we do now. Like, you want results, this is what we're doing. And seeing results then kept me motivated. I'm like, wow, this is actually working. We're
Yeah.
gonna keep doing it. Like, repeat, repeat, repeat. And it still is like annoying to me some days. I'm like, oh, I don't want to. But I'm like, no, this is why I have gotten this far. And like I'm following through. I'm not just gonna like
Yeah.
I'm not giving up. Like I'm doing this.
So and I love the you just got so much dedication and drive to like see the progress and stuff, right? And that's really where it comes back to is like you're reminding yourself, and we talk about like really having like a deep down why of like why you're doing this and stuff. And it sounds like you're constantly reminding yourself of like, I made
Mm.
this for myself. I'm
Yeah.
doing it for myself, like kind of re-solidifying it every time you have that like sense of doubt, which is amazing. And I think that's a big testament to why you've seen such amazing consistent progress.
Mhm.
And so with the tracking and stuff, have you ever felt like you were restricted or couldn't eat a certain food or anything along those lines when it comes to the nutrition?
No, because there are times when Serena was like, you are going to, I was like having crazy sugar cravings where like at night, well, still at night, I get very tempted to eat sweets. But Serena's like, you're gonna eat an Oreo every single day and you're gonna track it. Like we're gonna get you out of this. Like you can't have this. Like you can have it and you're gonna track it and we're gonna see if that gets better, which I really do think it did because now there are times when um someone's eating like a muffin or I'm craving one and I like go to the coffee shop and I'm like, no, I'm gonna get a coffee and a muffin. I'm gonna track it and I'm gonna go about my day. And I'm just including that. And like before I was like, no, I can't have that because that's bad food. So like trying to get out of that like bad and good food, like just in moderation. Um, and I would always get like prior, I would get so mad at myself, like, you just had that muffin. Like now you're just like, let's restart tomorrow. And then I would binge and go through that whole cycle of like, well, I already messed up. So now I'm just going to have pizza and ice cream and just mess my day up.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I have the muffin. I'm like, okay, had it. It was good. We're back. I'm not waiting until like the next day or the next week.
Okay.
So that's been cool to see because I've never thought like that before.
I mean, you've lost 25 pounds and you've seen insane results. But like for me, like that's probably the biggest win of like this entire thing, right? And like finding that balance and a healthy relationship with food, because that also is going to be one of the main things that helps you maintain this because you aren't going back to that all or nothing mindset.
Right.
Um, so kind of hang out in like that all or nothing mindset. I have your like weight graph pulled up here,
Mhm.
and as you have seen progress, there's been dips and increases and dips and increases and dips and increases.
Mhm.
So how have those like days when you've stepped on this scale and you are up a little bit just because of maybe it's something that happened over the weekend or maybe you're on your period or whatever it is,
Mhm.
how have you handled the mindset around those days as well, like throughout the process?
So In the beginning, I felt like I was more upset, like, when it went up. I'm like, "Oh, God."
Hmm.
But then Serena would bring me back to life, bring me back down, like, "All right, let's look at your photos. Like, look at how much," and, like, just looking at, like, my body, like, and how I've been feeling, like, when it goes up a little bit, my progress pictures are still, like, insane compared to where I started. So it's like, who cares if it went up a pound or two? Like, you've made such great progress. So that over time has gotten a lot easier because it's like, I know, like, okay, wait, it just because I went up a pound doesn't mean that I'm going to keep going up. Like, I'm, I'm, if I keep doing what I'm doing, like, it's gonna, like, level out or go down. Like, it's impossible to keep going up when I'm working out, walking, like, doing all the things. So why are you getting upset? And then I would talk myself down. I'm like, I'm good. Just, I'm going to have a bunch of water today. And maybe I'm just bloated because of something I ate. And I'm like, I feel okay with it now. I'm not, like, freaking out
I love
like I
it.
was before.
Yeah, that's great. And do you think that like kind of some of the education pieces that is a part of this program have helped you learn like some reasoning? Because I mean, you just gave me, I think it was like three of like why you could possibly be up on the scale, right? And so like
Yes,
having that education of like why things could be happening and why you're doing certain things, do you feel like that's helped with the progress as well?
totally. Yes. Because one time I remember I messaged Serena, I was like, why is this scale up? Like, and she was like, well, it could be this. And it's like, just like the convenience of her texting me back right away and not, like, going on Google and, like, spiraling. And yeah, so all the videos that you guys post for us, I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And it's like, it goes back to, like, just, you, like, have it set up for us, like, okay, this is what I want you guys to be watching, because there's sometimes, like, things that I don't even realize I'm thinking about, and I'm like, oh, okay, so, like, that's why that happened. um I don't
Hmm.
know. I like that because, and there's a lot of things on there that I haven't even thought about. And um it's just like, okay, that's why everything's falling into place now, or that's why I felt like that before. So yeah, I really do like the videos that have been posted too.
Yeah, that's great. And it just again, like I harp on it all the time, but like that long-term success, right? Like knowing why you're doing certain things helps with that versus just having someone be like, do this, this, and this just because I said do this, this, and this, right?
Right. Right.
I
Um,
want to ask about your same like relationship with food and everything like that, but I know that when we first started kind of transitioning you out of a deficit into a reverse, that you had a little bit of hesitancy. There's
Hmm.
certain days that you do still struggle with it, and hey, that's okay. We're all human.
Yeah.
Um, but I kind of want to know how your relationship with food and your body has transformed since we've been in this reverse phase that we've been in for the last like 3 to 4 months.
Yeah. Looking at my photos, you can see, like, I'm, like, leaning out even more. And like, the scale has been the same, went up a little bit, same, went up a little bit. But I don't know why in my head I was thinking during this phase I would be going up. I don't know why I thought that. It just, like, that was just in my mind, like, oh my God, this is scary. Like, because I saw so much progress in the beginning, and I was like, now we're just gonna make no progress. Um,
yeah,
Not taking into account that I'm still working out 3 times a day. I'm still walking. I'm tracking my food. I'm drinking my water. Like, just coming up some calories isn't going to stop progress. And looking at the photos, they speak for themselves. So I don't know. I had that, like, mindset of, like, okay, well, you're not going to make any progress now.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
not true at all.
I want to clarify something though. We said 3 times a day. We meant 3 times a week, right?
I was like, oh,
No, you're good. Just for anyone listening, we meant three
Yeah.
times a week. We don't make Allison work out 3 times. We're like, oh, I'm out. No, you're
Yeah,
good.
no, we're not that intense. No.
Yeah. Okay, and so then talking about this reverse too, I don't think we've mentioned it, but like I know the number, but like how many calories are you eating right now while still seeing progress?
2,200 around there. And that's crazy.
Yeah, right. And I just want to point that
Yeah.
out because I mean, I think that mindset around what you have with like, oh, I'm going to increase my calories and go into this reverse, I'm going to gain weight. Like that's a normal, common misconception, right? Which if you do it like too quickly or an improper way, sure, that might happen. But when there's a rhyme and reason behind the plan of increasing the calories and getting your metabolism to where we need it to be, that's when you see this incredible progress. And you're eating more food, which is amazing.
Right.
There are days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have like 600 calories to eat. I'm like, what? Like this feels crazy. Like, okay, what am I gonna make? And I'm like, I'm a little hungry, but not like starving. So it's nice that I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, I can have my protein ice cream now without like,
Without any
Mhm.
yeah, like this is like, oh, I need more, so I'm gonna do this, and it's a dessert, so I don't know, it just all works.
Yeah, I love it. Like that's just the goal, is that your body's working for you at this point. And it's like doing majority of the work to where you're still seeing this progress and you don't have to stress about it as much. And like you said, it's just your life. Like that's when it becomes just a
Mhm.
lifestyle because it's less of like a task on a to-do list of like, oh, I've got to do this, this, and this, be super strict. And it's like we don't have to be in that phase forever. And it is possible. You just got to do the work up front to get to where you are now.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like a lot of things we've talked about are so relatable to so many women that we talk to on a day-to-day basis. Like, I mean, exactly what you said at the beginning with like, you just not feeling comfortable in your skin, being like a lot of self-doubt. Can I even do this? Talking about it with
Mhm.
your husband, having the hesitations around like the finances, tracking your food, everything we've talked about. Um, so if you could give like a big piece of advice to women that are out there and they're just like, I really want to do this, but I don't know if my husband's on board. I don't know if we have the finances. I don't know if I have the time. I don't even feel I can even succeed at this if I did have a plan. What would you say to them?
I would say I definitely thought about all of that too. But it comes down to like, do you want it or do you not want it? Like how I don't know, how unhappy are you?
Yeah.
Because being unhappy wasn't like, nothing is worth being unhappy to me. Like I deserve to be happy. Like I don't know. I was just like, I deserve to be happy. I deserve this. Money comes and goes. Like we're gonna be fine. It's not that big of a deal. I told myself, I'm like, I know that I will be so happy I did this in the long run. And I am. So it just proved like I'm so happy that I did this because I would have, if I didn't, I know that I would still be where I was
Mhm.
and probably more unhappy. I don't know. I just like
It's kind of like how
worth
okay.
it. Like it's
Yeah, and
God.
like I completely agree with you. Like it's making that like choice, right? Like I'm doing this, but it's almost like asking yourself too, like, how okay with being unhappy are you?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
And
and then like you mentioned, like it's completely changed your life. And so like also thinking like in the future, which I have a lot of women do on discovery calls when we talk, I'm like, let's look at the path. I think I did it with you. Where we're like 5 years down the road, like we could take two options. We're going left or right. We're making a choice or we're not making a choice. Like, what do you want that to look like? So after going through this process and you're seeing the progress, like now looking forward, because I asked you this like over a year ago, probably like now, where do you see your future going? Like in 5 years, how do you see that like everything you've worked for this past like year affecting your future?
I'm gonna be a different person, even more so than I am now. Like I just can see myself getting better and better and better. Like just and happier. And I remember saying this in the beginning, like, I want to say I finally did it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't give up. I'm not doing a yo-yo, like, okay, lost 5 pounds and then you're a week later back to square one. Like I did it. I made the lifestyle change. This is who I am now. And just like a totally different person.
Yeah. Huh. I love
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. I love it.
I speak for both of us when we just say that we are so proud of you.
So proud.
Aw,
You've done,
So happy for you.
yeah.
thank you.
And you've done this for yourself, but like you've also like done this for your family. Like
Yeah.
it's changed the way that your kids are now having influences from you and your husband now since you've rubbed off on him. Like it's
Mhm.
just changed the whole household. And I can only imagine like what that's going to do for their future also.
It really has because like growing up, I my parents weren't the healthiest. They still aren't. So I never had like a good role model in that aspect. Everywhere else, perfect, but like health wise,
Mhm.
wasn't there. And I don't want my kids going through that because I feel like that's why I've had such a struggle my entire life. And like always had confidence issues because of that. So no, I do. That's like a huge thing I think about, especially like with my daughter. Like I want her just watching me thinking like this is how to be healthy. Not just like not about like this is how you look skinny and tone and all of that. Like this is this makes us feel good.
Yeah.
This makes us have more energy. This makes us feel happy.
Mm-hmm.
And going into nutrition too, like I'm like going down a big rabbit hole of like all the things we shouldn't be eating and like everything in our food these days. But just like for them to really think about like, oh, this food doesn't make my body feel good. Or exercising, that makes me feel really good. And just like innately like building that into them so that they never struggle with that.
Yeah.
And I want them to see us doing that. And they actually like the boys especially, they when we're working out, they'll come up and say, can I lift weights? And we like help them out a little bit. They're learning how to do push-ups and sit-ups. So it's cute.
Yeah, I love that. And that's everything, right? Like health is wealth. Like we have
Mhm.
like generational health is just like the best thing you could pass on to your family. And I would say that's like the main mission behind like what Serena and I do here. Like why this is even a program. Like why this program is built out is to help not only women but also like their families continue this throughout their generations because it is generational. So
For
yeah,
sure. Yeah,
I give props to you for one, stopping the cycle with the unhealthy habits and making that change for your not only your family now, but future generations to come because it's huge. And um that like in the grand scheme of things, like that small investment and that decision to start is going to do so much more. It's going to have the biggest return in the future.
Mhm. Oh yeah, especially like it goes back to like the investment part of this. Like I have a lot of friends that they pay money to go do all of these workout classes, and then they have a personal trainer, and some of them are doing the shot that's out now. And I'm like sitting there adding up like all of this stuff, and like it's just like I'm thinking like they're probably spending more money than I even did on this. And when they stop doing the shot, when they stop going to their workout class, they're everything's gonna kind of go back to the beginning. And like the nutrition, like I have some coworkers asking me questions now about like, well, what are you doing? So they're like coming to me for information. But and then like a cousin of mine, she's like, well, I'm doing keto now. Did it for a few weeks. I just ran into her. I'm like, are you still doing it? And she's like, no, we just like really needed bread. And then
Yeah, I get it, girl.
and then yeah, then they're just like now then I'm thinking like, well, now you're back to square one. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like so the fact that like this is like a lifestyle change for me
Yeah. You don't
is everything. It's everything. Like
like the thought of like never having to start over, like how cool is that?
yes. Yes.
And it's so freeing. It's so freeing.
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of people think it's impossible, right? But it's not. With the right plan and the right guidance, you just have to go about it. Like you just need you need the right tools, right? Like you need the right tools in your toolbox to get
Yep.
to go, versus just like throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks with all the fad diets and everything else out there.
Right. And I definitely am the type of person, like when I started this, I was like, okay, I need you to tell me exactly what to do. Having the guidance there, it was like walking me through baby steps, and that was huge for me.
Yep.
So,
And that's
and
normal.
being able to like text you whenever was really nice.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people can relate to that. And it's like at the beginning, like we all need a little hand holding, right? Especially for something so new and so different than what you've tried. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you need that guidance.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure.
Awesome.
I think I have one more question,
Mhm.
but my mind is drawing a blank right now, so forgive me, but we're just talking about hand holding. We were talking about
That's, yeah, how my mind works right now.
I just not like a certain listen, it's been a week. Okay. Earlier this week I put pepper in my water instead of salt. So
Oh, no.
a lot going
That
on.
sounds like my week, honestly. Everyone's sick. So,
Um, if I think of it, if I remember it, I will let you know. But
okay.
yeah,
Awesome.
sorry
Anything
about that.
else that you want to add though? Like, I mean, we've covered everything that I wanted to talk about here, and you've given us a lot of good insight. And I think honestly, like just hearing your story will help a lot of other women make this decision for themselves as well, which is just a huge
Yeah.
impact. So I appreciate you like chatting with us through this.
Yeah, of course. One other thing that I thought about when another thing that made me want to start this was I had a back injury, back in sciatica, and I think when it first happened, I couldn't walk for 2, 3 weeks. I had to stop working. I had to have my mom come over, my mother-in-law come over, take care of the kids. My husband, like while he's at work, he would get home and then he would have to take care of the kids. I was just laying there, done. And that brought me back to like, okay, why did this happen? Number one, I think pregnancy, whatever, but not taking care of myself too. Like I I let it get so bad. Like I wasn't exercising, I wasn't eating right. Like I let myself get there and it got so bad that I couldn't take care of my family. And I was just like, this can never happen again. So that is why I was like, I need to be strong. Like I need to have a functioning body and like this can't happen again. So that was another reason why. It's like, so if anyone has any health concerns, like you can't, like you need to stop it now. Like you can't get to the point where you can't do anything for yourself or for your family. Like,
100%. And if you don't stop it now, it's kind of like think about the cost of what it would be in the future. Medications, doctor's
oh,
appointments,
yes.
surgery. Like
Yes.
again, like not to harp on the investment aspect of it, but like there is an investment aspect of this and it's so worth it because it is a fraction of the cost of
Mhm.
what that could be in the future for you. And if you can set
Totally.
yourself up for success to where you are healthy and you stay off medications and you don't need all these surgeries and you don't need all these doctor's appointments, like you're saving thousands of dollars in the
Yep.
future when it comes to that. Because I mean, insurance is it doesn't always cover what you think it's gonna cover. It's not always like, like you're still gonna have an expense there. Um, so yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up because that was something at the beginning that I remember us talking about where you're like, I've
Mhm.
got to be like on my feet and taking care of my kids, and you want to run around with your boys and
Yeah.
carry your little one up the stairs and without pain.
Right. Yeah.
Mm,
Can't happen.
awesome.
How's your back now?
It's great. There's sometimes when certain workouts will like irritate it a little bit, but I've let you know and we kind of like adjust that. So I'm just being mindful that I have an issue there and I can feel like, ooh, okay, that didn't feel the best. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to reevaluate and figure out something else I can do. So,
Learning your body.
yes. Yeah. Learning your body. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, girl. Well,
Right.
Appreciate you. We appreciate you. The team. I mean, we're constantly talking about your progress and stuff. So just keep doing what you're doing and
Oop.
keep doing what you're doing. And we just know that you're going to have incredible results in the future. But thank you, thank you, thank you for hopping on with us and going through all of this. Yeah. And anything else you want to add, Serena, or do you think of your question?
No, just that we are so proud of you, and we're glad to have been we're privileged to have been able to walk alongside of you during this process, and that you would trust us with such a big, I guess, issue that you hold close to your heart. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate you guys.